The truth is, when a season spirals into darkness the way this one has, the soul of the team is no longer found in the record or the stat sheets. It lives in those moments where players are forced to decide whether they still believe in something bigger than the chaos around them. At 2-9, with firings echoing through the building and ownership frustration stacking like cold winter air, belief becomes a rare resource. It becomes something only the toughest can hold on to. And that's what makes this Week 13 showdown with the Chargers feel less like another game and more like a collision between hope and desperation. Every man in that locker room can feel it. Every coach knows the weight of what's coming. You don't need speeches or slogans when your career is hanging by a thread. You just need to look in the mirror and decide whether you're choosing fight or surrender. For Greg Olson, the choice is already made. He stepped into this disaster mid-season, inheriting an offense shattered by inconsistency, broken protection, and the echoes of an organizational implosion. He didn't ask for sympathy, and he didn't ask for excuses. Instead, he took ownership of the mess, knowing he didn't have the luxury of reinventing the system or scrapping the playbook. He had to build a lifeboat with the pieces he was given. And in that lifeboat, the oars belonged to his quarterback. Geno Smith isn't being asked to do the impossible. He's being asked to survive, to get the ball out, to trust the timing, and to lean on the one bond that has held strong through all this madness. The connection he built with Olson years ago in Seattle, that familiarity, that sense of shared experience, might be the only thing keeping this offense from completely collapsing. But even that bond is strained when the offensive line looks like a cracked dam barely holding the water back. 20 sacks in 3 games isn't a slump. It's negligence. It's a structural failure that goes beyond coaching and drills. And the irony of that failure becomes painfully clear when the man responsible for that unit stands untouched by the shakeup. Brennan Carroll remains on the sideline while coordinators and assistants fall around him. Players notice that kind of selective accountability. They feel its weight. They hear the conversations in the locker room. They know when fairness isn't being applied evenly. And when you're telling men to fight for every inch, every down, every rep, those inconsistencies can tear a team apart faster than any blown coverage or missed assignment. This is why Olson knows he has to take the ball out of the offensive line's hands and put it directly into the hands of his playmakers. Aston Gentry wasn't drafted to be a role player. He was drafted to be a spark, an ignition source that forces defenses to react instead of dictate. The focus on quick touches, screen passes, and schemed opportunities isn't a sign of retreat. It's the only logical evolution for an offense that can no longer pretend to be something it's not. Gentry's ability to turn short plays into long gains is the only antidote to an offensive front that can't sustain blocks long enough to build traditional drives. And right behind him stands the tight end room, the one position group that has refused to fold under pressure. Brock Bowers, Mike Meyer, and the others aren't just catching passes or sealing edges. They're acting as shields, extensions of the protection plan. The reinforcements needed to keep Geno upright long enough to complete the mission. The strategy isn't pretty. It's not glamorous. But it's survival. And survival is the only path to relevance right now. On the defensive side, Patrick Graham knows he doesn't have the luxury of panic. His unit has held this franchise together with raw determination and the leadership of Max Crosby, a man who embodies everything this team wants to be, but hasn't been able to become. Crosby doesn't quit. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't need a scoreboard to determine his effort. He sets the tone, the standard, the heartbeat. And Graham knows that if this team is going to claw its way through Week 13 with its dignity intact, it will happen because the defense refuses to break. The Chargers aren't a mystery. They're a team with clear strengths and glaring weaknesses. Their offensive line is a collapsing structure begging to be attacked. Graham sees it. The stats confirm it. When a quarterback is pressured on nearly a third of his dropbacks, that's not something you ignore. That's something you feast on. And this week demands feasting. It demands aggression, creativity, disguised looks, and relentless pursuit. Because if you can't dominate a line that week, then everything you claim to be on defense falls apart at the seams. But the real challenge doesn't come from their line. It comes from Keenan Allen, a future Hall of Famer with the intelligence of a coach and the instincts of a predator. Graham knows he can't ask young corners to stop Allen by themselves. That's a suicide mission. This will require help, disguise, leverage, and discipline. It will require these young defensive backs to grow up in real time. No mercy, no training wheels, just pure trial by fire. Some will rise, some will break. But Graham has no choice but to trust them. The season has forced his hand, and through all of this, one thing becomes undeniable. This Week 13 battle is no longer about standings or playoff hopes. Those dreams died weeks ago. This is about pride, identity, and the raw survival instincts of a team standing at the edge of a cliff. This is about proving that a 2-9 record doesn't define them. The firings and front office chaos won't dictate their grit. This is about showing the world that even at rock bottom, there is still something here worth fighting for. The message Graham gave his defense resonates beyond the locker room. You get 365 days a year to be a professional football player, but only 17 opportunities to prove it. 17 chances to show the world who you are. 17 stages to deliver a legacy. The rest of the year is preparation, training, dreaming. But these Sundays, these battles under bright lights and national eyes, these are the moments that carve your name into the game. And if you waste them, you don't get them back. This team has wasted enough already. Now it's time to finish strong, finish proud, and finish united. The Chargers may be the opponent, but the real battle is internal. And when the clock hits 0, every man on that field will know exactly who he is. And now, it's your turn. What do you think? Can this team dig themselves out of the chaos? Or is Week 13 the breaking point? Do you believe in the adjustments, in the grit, in the fight that still burns in this locker room? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dive coverage, dramatic breakdowns, and storytelling that goes beyond the box score, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss what comes next.